President Trump made it official today. The U.S. now recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Mr. Trump also began ordering the State Department to begin moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. KCAL9 political reporter Bryan has more on the president fulfilling a campaign promise.
That's exactly right. During the campaign, candidate Trump said he was going to shake up U.S. foreign policy. Now he has picked one of the world's most volatile regions, though, to get that started. President Trump made the case that America's approach to the Israeli-Palestinian confrontation wasn't working and needs a reboot, some bold changes. But the initial reaction from the Palestinian side, was anything but encouraging. President Trump's announcement recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel got a fiery reception in Gaza Wednesday night as angry protesters burned tires in the street in what critics charge may be a small preview of things to come.
We cannot solve our problems by making the same failed assumptions and repeating the same failed strategies of the past.
The president also announced that he has authorized plans to be drawn up for moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, a process that's expected to take at least 3 to 4 years. So the president signed a waiver that will keep the embassy in Tel Aviv for now. In making his statement, he broke with nearly 70 years of American policy in the region, acknowledging he was following through on a campaign promise with a domestic political dimension, pleasing the Christian evangelicals and conservative Jews for whom Israel is a defining issue.
While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering. There will, of course, be disagreement and dissent regarding this announcement.
The embrace of Jerusalem was reportedly a hot debate topic inside the White House, with Vice President Mike Pence supporting the idea.
Today, our president took a truly historic step.
But Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who was recently reported to be on thin ice, reportedly argued against American recognition of Jerusalem as the capital and moving the U.S. Embassy.
The president still is very committed to the peace process, and we still believe there is a great opportunity for peace.
The Israelis welcomed the president's announcement with open arms.
There is no peace that doesn't include Jerusalem as the capital of the state of Israel.
But U.S. allies around the world, from Europe to the Muslim world, were stunned and sharply critical of the president's announcement, arguing that it will backfire on the U.S., make it more difficult to reach any kind of peace accord, and increase tension and hostility in the region.
Ignoring the Palestinian Muslim and Christian rights in Jerusalem will only fuel further extremism and undermine the war against terrorism.
I'm telling you that President Trump is not only encouraging violence, he is provoking violence. He is also provoking a religious war.
So even as protesters from Turkey to Gaza shouted their resistance and marched through the streets in large numbers Wednesday night, Pope Francis also implored President Trump to reconsider.
I cannot keep quiet my profound concern for the situation that has arisen in the last few days, and at the same time to address a heartfelt appeal to make everyone's commitment to respect the status quo of the city.
Now, tonight, some Palestinian leaders are urging a third intifada, an armed uprising, as a result of President Trump's announcement. Fatah, Hamas, and other Palestinian groups are calling for a general strike tomorrow, urging their supporters to march in protest. The Israelis are bracing for possible violence. Jeff, Lena, back to you.
Okay.